All right, guys, and we're back. We now have trios to look towards. My name is Severio. We'll be looking over here and analyzing the stuff of the games, just pretty much going through maybe a little bit more of the casting side than anything. But I do highly recommend for you guys to go through for watching this in the live broadcast if you do want the full experience for the casting. With today's actually being with Seb Guy and Dobby, aka Ambush King, aka Dobby Air. They'll be casting for today in terms of the casting, but we will have the silent gameplay kind of going through and just having a second or third pair of eyes if you guys were looking for a voiceover for it. And as an NBPL caster, as myself, I will go through and making sure that's the case. Now, starting this off, we will have this first round to be into Halaroth the Sunny for the first round. This first round is going to be the first time we will see, but whether or not these comps are still going to have any sort of shift in power. Maybe one prevails over the other, as they should, such as with the Sand Siphon comp versus Transformers. As you can see, there are no Transformers in sight. And with everything coming out here, Sand Siphon does reign supreme here, with seeing how Team Bauda, as well as seeing about Team JL actually doing a pick that is now making its rounds even through the scrims, where you can see between JL and JJH, they have a Kurumi instead of Ziping. Now, the easy peasy reason for that is definitely going to be basically on the ends of Kurumi not being as prevalent for Transformers teams, because if there's a lot of counters against the Transformers, just fit Kurumi into that comp. You can expend the Ziping Ying for something else, but more importantly, what Kurumi can then benefit the Takeda and the Tumult for the majority reasons is that the Kurumi Circle has a best effect when it gets an extra elemental attribute towards it. What I mean by that is that an additional effect happens when a fireball hits it, a water bubble hits it, or a spear from Valda. And in this case, for Temmie, what happens is that when his wind wall, or rather when his ultimate, if anything sand coming out from his wisps, hit that circle, every single enemy that goes through that circle ends up having no energy. It's the same thing with the sand cognacs in the region by the Cinnabar Valley, if you know what I'm talking about. That region itself has those little sand bulbs where they bust out dust, and all of a sudden you don't have any sort of energy. Same methodology here, where if Kurumi needs to use ultimate outside of it, she can use that. He can throw a wisp at it, and the team that's enacted there won't be able to have any chances to dodge. This gives a perfect chance, for example, for JJH, right, for Godly, right, to use his Takeda ultimate to fully burn into somebody with a blue focus while using his Takeda push. Well, they can't iframe anything. They can't dodge. They don't have anything to kind of work off of it. And also with it, Kurumi's F3 now can be utilized, whether or not for a Transformer to heal, or just provide the mitigation. Now she can just give Takeda no reason to worry when the pressure comes out from enemy teammates, and even to mulch as a ground unit. Even though she gets to heal over time as per usual, instead of having to waste out the heal over time for a Transformer who will just use himself for the mitigation of 20%, while F3 is being used for the Kurumi. Then at that stage, Kurumi will just have a chance for giving the ground unit forces like those guys a better chance of just being able to attest into a fight and possibly over the win. Now, compared to Ziping's biggest caveat is that with her ultimate being able to be cast at 70% for the V2 for her team to get those bubble pops for the Sedate Soul, she did get that, not say necessarily recent, but a recent change over the course of patches where she lost a massive amount of heal that came back with the Sedate Soul being procced with the V2. That just made it so that her healing capacity isn't as major as it once was, but she is still not a threat that you do not want to undermine. You need to understand that her sustained game and her iframe pushes coming out from the F1 and even to the V2, it just allows for that pressure to be made for the teammates to then come up and jump you if you're trying to get her out of the game. So with that being said, we are going to take a look to see about the skills and hopefully seeing about what they kind of have to offer. If any sort of changes, like such as with the Vipers or even to the Vyoto Himes or even to Weishans, we'll take a look in the scene about that. And as I say that, I looked at Weishan, NiHQ from XCG is rocking F3. I can only the reason he's going off of F3 is to provide gold focus knockback for the enemies, so that way they don't have any sort of chances. I did see during the patch for season 12 we're actually going to lose this F3 ability. It's going to have the terror effect, which is that 40% lowered attack for the opponent, is going to be applied to the F2, which is the stun skill for Wei Shan. And, some sort of action changes to that as well. But F3 is interesting. I'll say that because it's going to push someone back in its gold focus. So anything blues, if anyone charging blue, it won't be giving them any sort of opportunity. And you actually are able to close gap to somebody with the F3. So for NiHQ to actually rock this skill here, it's really their choice of, the Bread Bowl. They'll be mixing it together with the Feria Shen as well as the Yodo Hime for the Cannonball comp. But looking at that, everything else looks to be the same. F3V1 for Zem from Wolves. Not sure if that's going to be a skill change, just because usually for the V1, they would proc and fully lock into F2 for the silence. So that way V1 has a full chance of locking someone into a 5-second stun. It looks to be the dependency off of the Zessa here for the V2 or V1 ultimate, and just allowing for that control to be the reason why someone can't do anything, because they force proc the ultimate for the enchant, have it happen, and then in the middle of the casting of the enchant to actually allow for the ultimate for V1 Viper. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how Wolves go through. ZK and EG are actually going to go through with Zem here for that comp. Or as the players, let's take a look at the scene about Fun Plus Phoenix. Looks like it's going to be normal F3. Now this is V2 as expected. At least V2 for the silence into the stun, as well as with SS from the OUG. And looking at over into DRG, the standards are coming out. F3 for Yodo, F1 for Wei Shan, and an F3 Fairy Shed as per usual. And then if anything coming up from WBG, we are going to have V1 F2. As Sleepwalker does rock that. Sleepwalker is let me tell you, the Sleepwalker is a very dangerous Viper in the NBPL scene. Basically giving every single chance he can to actually fully capitalize as a Viper. And it's good to see him we're going to have a good chance of seeing it back through. I actually looked right down. 5-2-1. Team coming out from Vietnam, new to the season and now into the trios. Pampy is rocking the F3V3. Now, this is a huge chance of actually seeing the V3 itself in trios, more importantly, with the F3. There's no stun, there's no CC control. The only thing you have is a silence, but you can actually go into ground inside a ground unit form, meaning you can be using your weapon. Pampy could just use a one-hit blue weapon if he can. If not, he can use a high-rarity weapon to shotgun blast his F3 with that weaken heal. And the amount of damage that comes out from the F3 as an ability is massive. So Pampy taking advantage of that, that would be his case scenario. I would like to see this V3, F3 shenanigans go through. I know a lot of top tier players would want to say, don't run V3, don't run it at all. In the trios, you want more control, you want more CC control, dependent on the comp. This comp doesn't have much dependency as having higher DPS. The only DPS coming out from this is Pampy with that F3. If a different character choice were to come through here, it would definitely be switching out the Wu Chen for Shiol, if anything, but that's going to lose out on the escape aspect of it. So if Unique were to want to switch that out, we will see that. But it doesn't seem to be the case. We will see how things turn out and hope for the best. As the Kurumis are going to be rocking the F3 V2, that's going to be the case scenario for their healing. And Kurumi Circle is going to also include into the benefit of clearing out any sort of debuff. So that's also another thing that Kurumi can actually do in the middle of a fight, as the Sand Siphon comp does now evolve. With Kurumi being in there, she can actually enable the cleansing aspect so all her teammates don't end up having that slowed effect. So that's another thing you got to keep an advantage of it. And for it to be a cleansing effect, it means that they can actually hammer between each other ultimates and not have any sort of degrading sense of the fighting. So with that, Spawn's looking pretty nifty here. Two teams on each side between Yushan Ruins over the City Tang. And, I'm really curious to see about what happens here in Tempelar Village as well. Hopefully in the Plume Castle starting to round 1. And with that, into the Pinnacle Town, we're going to see JL be actually spawning here, having a bell, early on-game weapon, and no armor for TXJ until now. So he's good to go. I do see KLA's as QGG actually dropping in here into the Yushan Ruins. They are not the only team here, though, as we saw before. And so for KLA, going to be making their works here. 2023 J Cup champions XCG is in here. Now, second place was HLG, but HLG, it doesn't seem to be the case scenario anymore into the NBPL scene. So, as you can probably tell, J Team's pace is actually leaving HLG, right? Because whether it disbanded or not, but he went into J Team. So, that's pretty good to see him get picked up from that team. And, also the other J Team teammates or JL or HLG teammates to be switched out. Now, Water, he's going to have himself coming out here, but a big Tesla ult came out here, and then Xing Yu is going to be one person to be denied any sort of the disenchantment while that pressure is going through. Water does get enchanted here, but I think OUG's Yu is going to be looking for the pulse sword action, and he's high in the health bar. He gets Water's soul essence, as Xiaohu is going to be looking to try to lock this through. The blistering edge off the rip in the beginning of the game is not a good sight for the enemy team, as they're going to be looking for it. Xiao is going to be getting himself caught out here, and that's going to be a burn for the Mortal Defiance proc, and that's going to be 3 eliminations for SS and Xing Yu for Team OUG. This is a massive lead for these guys, and OUG's Yu also has Group Yo as a Wu Chen, and that's a massive choice for him to be able to have into the back line, right? He can just go ahead and escape and keep the team healthy and sustained. Now, over into the city of Tong, we're going to see Godly with JJH. We're going to have Maran and Chui actually be the teammates coming through. This is one of the 2 teams with the Kurumi and Siphon comp, so we will see. Team Bauda is actually going to be into the southwestern region of this area. They're actually going to reach towards the Tang Courtyard, which is the southeast area of the map. Back into Imperial Village, we actually see into Yushan Ruins, as I say. KLA is going to be looking to rotate towards the ruins as a whole. Good purple weapon selection here. That's going to be a big chance for QGG to actually take utilization that as a Takeda, and while QGG is going to be rushing towards the Yushan secret portal or secret room, he may be wanting to have his team on standby. JL's team, though, they did find themselves, maybe not so many opponents to fight just yet, but they are over by, if I'm not mistaken, Camel's Hump. This is northwest of Metab, if I'm not mistaken. So we're looking at towards the western side of the map. Now, Sleepwalker, WBG, these guys are over by the Ice Shard Lake. As you can see, Sleepwalker switched to the Hong Sword. Now, for trios, Hong Sword is quick, mobile. You can connect 2 quick, concise blue focus attacks. One of them being the horizontal, the other being the vertical. It's the vertical being for a 2-hitter, but the lethal jab as a connection for the 3rd blue focus like that is just too good to be ignored, considering that Thunderstrike can be a little bit wishy-washy from the katana, which is the secondary blue focus. But we're going to see XCG Kakashi going to be looking for it with this Moonbane being casted down below from Xiaonan from above. And with Kakashi actually having his chance here to see the Moonbane doing its magic, a big elimination factor is this. You find enough gold to buy the Moonbane, you get it immediately. You get it on the bar. You know exactly where the other teams that maybe has spawned. It might be staying there. Because as you can see, the amount of gold that's coming out of these guys to be able to have this elimination, the first elimination, by finding gold early on, they were able to purchase out that Moonbane and push that team. And as you can see, KLA's his team just gets fully just full of just an immaculated kill, right? Full elimination comes out. KLA now has to really think about where they want to reset, because now that WBG is not wanting to push this because those eliminations were had, they're going to be just waiting this out, waiting for the backline. They don't know whether or not the gold that they just earned from those kills, are they going to buy another Moonbane, right? In this case scenario, I'm not seeing another Moonbane in their midst. So while that happens, Wolves comes out here. 521 comes out here. A lot of teams found these portals between now into Yushan Ruins to get towards the ruins as a whole because of this early game Moonbane. Is this going to work against XCG's favor? Who knows? Usually the mentality is fight me. And everything that comes out of the fight me attitude is that you need to understand when you can fight and when you have to back off here. And XCG has a high ground position, but they only have so many escape routes as can be. And considering that their comp is Cannonball comp, it really just adds to the attrition of having to worry about whether or not the ultimate rotation is utilized or needing to be used in the first place. Now, Kakashi is going to be moving to the western region. We're going to see him move out with his team. This team is going to be having a meteor also off the rip here, with Kakashi actually trying to shoot the bell off of that end. Over to the Metop region, though, JL is going to be out here with JDG actually inside this region. A fan for the Takeda is a massive chance. And look at the Takeda ultimate, actually nearly to level 3. This is really fast as these guys are rushing this down. As FX is looking for musket shots, JDG's Tui is actually, or Tui is going to be looking for that repair in middle of broad daylight, and none of the teammates from JL is going to actually take chances to take pot shots. Usually you would call that out, but at the same time, you don't want your team to get out of position of getting caught out here. But F2 comes out here from from the Yoda from Tootie, and I think JDG actually has a good chance of winning this fight out. The Moonbane is now forcing all of JL, moving Eastern out of the way from the Med Top region, and now they're outside of the Moonbane side. F3 gets a confirmation off of VVV, but Tootie's looking for the Yoda Hime ult. Slash number 1 misses, slash number 2 hits. The staggers come out, and with everything coming into place, there's slash number 3. It hits VVV, but it's not going to work to anything. The F3 that actually give the mitigation forces PP not to be able to have any sort of reason to worry from the Yoda Hime. These guys go right back to their Moonbane. There's around 35 seconds, and PP actually gets eliminated without any sort of way of getting rest. So he is actually going to have that reason to use his Soul Bloom and getting back to his team, maybe for a reset. However, like I said, it's like attracted to the flame. The Moonbane gets casted down. Teams in the opposite region are going to show up here. OUG actually rotating from Salvation Podium and now getting towards the Metop region are now going to have the CSS rocking the F3 into this comp with that gold weapon. The reason for that, it's easily said or done. The scaling of the gold weapon towards his F3 is, it's top notch. It's going to be at least 550 damage, 600 damage maybe, just to burn someone's armor away. And if you go up against the Ping Yings, the biggest aspect that comes out of Zipping Yings to get negated out of that comp is because if a Viper runs you F3, there's nothing to cleanse the heal. Heck, if you F3 as someone who has the V2 active from Zipping Ying, that pop is not going to work at all. It's as if nothing ever happened. But you can see over to the northeast, north of Quarry, FPX has a Valiant Challenger still active for themselves. Bowda's still rocking out near tank, but Metop region, this is a hot bubble that a lot of players are going to be sleeping nearby. Talking about sleeping nearby, WBG seems to be over to the western side, and that's a Vermilion Birdmite Morris blessing. That's pretty huge coming out from this early game chest to be available for Morris blessing. So that would explain why none of these players want to kind of risk the biscuit with the Romy Yang. They'd rather fight outside. And if they have the ultimate, like it's a mulch to deny any sort of entry from enemies that aren't running the same comp, that would just be a place for them to actually be able to force this, force the engagement by getting the re-up on their ultimate, by picking up the Morse Blessing, by getting the Vermilion Birdmite. Now, as it comes out of here, we will see a chance for these teams to walk out into the Romy Yang. Like I said, the Romy Yang has its perks, but if things come out to where the players want more than Morris Blessings, then it's okay. The only thing they're going to miss out on is most likely just the purple weapon or the purple armor that's usually already there, but the gold weapon is the biggest change up, right? Is it really worth a gold weapon? Yeah, I mean, mostly yes, because you want to get as much damage off as a skill-based ultimate character, but the more important thing is, can you work without that gold weapon by being in the overworld? Because the moment if you lose the Romy Yang, right, you do get extra eliminations in the Romy Yang, but if you don't want to enter it, your main reasons is because your team comp does not really revolve around it, or you rather use your comp for the overworld to not hunt down enemies inside a small enclosed space. But as we're going to see here, players over to the Salvation Podium, we're going to have to see whether or not JJH is going to rush into DRG's fight. The Romy Yang is now closed down. The teams have entered. JL is up against XCG. This is going to be a big switch up. Let's take a look. JL's TXJ. This is going to be VVV and TXJ from former TE squad. It's a really big shift in terms of this team's the team comps coming out here, but we're going to see Kakaxi actually getting some backline, and as big as it comes out here, Xiaonan is not going to have a good health bar right now. He's trying to get to the mech. He gets into it, and we're going to see whether or not the Takeda coming up from JL is going to be able to do anything about it. FX goes for a scare rush and tries to find the back line, and he's going to get cornered off here. The V2 comes out from the Kurumi, but then the ultimate comes out as well, and FX is denied any entry towards the killing circle, even with the Fear and Blast. Nothing stopping the Weishan from reaching out into the realm of despair. TXJ, even with the ultimate cast, did not deny anything due to the having that Yueishan coming out into the woodworks. There is nothing to give JL enough time to survive, and with that, there goes 2 down, and with Kakaxi actually looking to try to hunt down FX, who is going to be the second one down here. Xiaonan can't do anything to save his teammate. They're going to be healing up in the backline, and VVV sees his chance, gets a parry, single edge sap comes out there, and XCG wins out that fight. It's really kind of a dangerous game to see how you kind of place to fast the speed of your ultimates. That Weishan is a big deterrent for being able to hold your ground, though. So as a ground unit like Takeda, he can get fully cornered off and fully controlled where Takeda's biggest flaw at that point is revealed. You see, his strength is that he can use his ultimate into casting those blue focuses with those pole sword attacks. If he's not allowed to do that, if a Weishan wants to bully him, that's the Weishan's job. He's got to hold down that Takeda for everything that comes out of it. Now, coming off of here, I think Yin's by himself here, and KLA's team is looking to try to lock him out of here and out of the game if he is the last one in his team. Every single one of these teams actually picking up the Vermilion Bird's Might. But Yin catches the V1 into the distance. 17S actually has his chance of just being able to grab the elimination. Unique, though. You can see Yin was actually by himself. Pampy and Unique are actually over to the village of the Yushan ruins. So they'll be waiting this out. Wolves, though, showing up to Metop. They don't seem to have Romy Yang depletion. We'll actually see the scoreboard, and we'll find out how much the Romy Yang depletion is affecting which players. And now usually we'll have to see how that ends up. Kakaxi actually missing out these grapples, but it looks like JL and FPX are going to be losing into that Romy Yang depletion. As we were watching JL, we could see FPX's fight if a replay were to happen. Hopefully soon we will see how that ends up going through. But another thing, actually, besides the extra Romy Yang that's being spawned in, I do want to make mention that there is an extra Moonbane at the end, or there's more than one. So we should be able to see that. FBX is holding out their horses. They're not going to spawn in. I don't know if they're waiting for a team to show up. Perhaps they're thinking about the rotation of a Valiant Challenger that's nearby and hope to capitalize and seeing if the Valiant Challenger gets eliminated. There's a lot of factors. Maybe they're just waiting this out and they're like, let's just wait until the last second. Because safety net reason is this: if they have a Soul Bloom set somewhere in the distance, which they may or may not have because they have no eliminations so far, then the reason to stay is undermined. Over here to the Thorny Roller, though, with the Jin Armory, we do see TXJ gets caught into this Aurora Burst. FX is immediately down as DRG shows up here with a full control comp coming out here. The ultimate comes out from I don't even think he's going to have enough time to get out of here. Even VVV getting enchanted out here. We're going to see a V2 coming out from Water. A 2-second stun with the full silence effect. Well, Water could not do anything due to having that Tumult Circle. And as a result, Moonlight finds a chance of using the Weishan ult, denies any sort of entry point for these enemies. And that's a V1 Weishan, by the way. So you're going to look for the try to control here. The Wuchen port goes on to this direction while Water is now going to be free to get rezzed. We are going to see FX's team with JL actually look for his nice clean bow shot. But TXJ, I think, is by himself here. Double roll is nicely done with the energy build or with the energy eclipse that he's most likely rocking for now. Or maybe he's just rocking the double dodge and that's it. Usually for those players to be able to work the economy game. But Water actually chases out this kill. He's looking for DRG's WFZ, and WFZ is going to be getting himself a one heal to another. F3 gets dodged. F3 coming out here from that enemy. And of course, Xiao is going to be showing up here to try to support Water into this endeavor. But there is the ultimate from WFZ, and WFZ might be going to the sky, go for the bump, but each Wuchen wall is another hurdle. And WFZ is actually going to try to lock in another cannon shot. He misses that one, and F3's shield is going to block this. But I think I know what's going to happen. Goomba Stomp. Oh, man, that's it. Water goes down. WFZ picking up the Soul Bloom for 1,000 heal, gets the Army Blue Focus, goes for the F3, gets dodge, and I think Xiao getting this uppercut really just seals the deal here for the timing into the zone, and WFZ goes down with a massive amount of damage coming out here, and another horizontal. DRG's team comes to save the day. WFZ is like, where are you guys? What's going on? And I think WFZ might be, I think it might be safe. KLA is showing up into the zone here, and I don't know if they're doing this for a reason that's really huge. I mean, look, the WFZ is fully healing up in the backline. We see that. But they lose track of the teams. Heck, even OUG was coming into the zone. They were like, yo, we're ready to fight this. But the OUG didn't find anybody to fight. So with that, they are also rocking blue weapons, or blue armors, I should say, into this whole round. So far, they haven't found any purples, which should be changing soon. Immortal War in Season 12 actually having changes to happen where the new season brings new changes to Immortal War, new changes to characters with the new skill integration and removal of other skills. So other characters will have some integrated aspects with their other abilities and whatnot. Also, with that, You also have to keep in mind about these skill integrations and removals. It's basically just to the testing that the devs are actually working through and just double checking and seeing how it turns out. I will lose my mind though if we do lose V3 Zai. I'll stop. No. But Zai probably gonna lose that ultimate, honestly. There's ways to balance it, but we'll see how that goes. Into the replay though. DRG up against FPX. FPX actually lost this fight, so this is interesting to see how this turns around. Nice Tesla ult coming up from the distance, but no one gets locked in due to that range. And WFZ is actually going to look towards Dongqing. Dongqing goes down. WFC putting the pressure on. We're going to see whether or not WFC is going to go into cannon mode and actually confirm shots, and he's definitely looking to confirm shots. Water goes down, and that's not going to be the only teammate. We're going to have one more enemy. Xiaohu is going to be looking to try to lock into place for the Dushin, but Wushin is going to be going straight into blue focuses with the weapons he's got. And WFC finds any opportunity to connect and just work with his teammate. This is how it kind of works out in trios, y'all. Looking for the control is one thing, right? But synergizing the attacks and timing the attacks is another thing. Quick hit weapons is important, as well as the heavy weapons like the pole sword. So being able to use those and synergize format with the opponents that you're going up against, but also with your teammate to work with. Now, Wu Shen is actually going to go ahead and have this cannon with Flamebringer out. And, we can see these meteor shots. That cannon meteor is actually really cool. The extreme skin coming out from the Brocade chest. I haven't unlocked that one, but we will see if that happens. But into this region, into what seems to be interesting. They're waiting this one out. Xiaohu's just waiting this one out. Don't make any sound. Don't heal. Don't heal for anything. Because, they hear that heal a mile away. All right. I think he's okay to heal now. If Shu hears this, it's over. I think Shu hears that. That's crazy. Well, I don't know. Maybe Godly saw him. But Zhao is going to be caught out here and holding the stone form as long as he can. Focus slide, pole sword comes out from Shu. And Shu, with the focus slide, pole sword, good chance, to confirm the kill. But my question is this. The zone is really far away, and these guys are in weakness escalation. They won't get any sort of heals from that Soul Bloom. And not only that, they can't even get... Oh, no. They don't even have any sort of way of getting out of here at all. This was the perfect opportunity for this round to see whether or not the Kurumi was going to work for them as a Sand Siphon, but to get eliminated hunting one target actually feels bad, and sticking to the zone as that long is... It's usually the idea of how far can you go in without it being too long, right? How quickly can you really attest to fighting an opponent and getting elimination with the distance being farther and farther for your safety? Because the weakness escalation now... It's such a dangerous tactic to stick into the zone for such a long time. Now, let's say you decide to run into the Shadow Drift Glade board. Well, good thing in Season 12 we're changing that, right? But these guys won't have Season 12 for an initial for a good long while. Maybe after week 1, maybe after week 2. We'll see what happens when they decide to want to integrate that patch, because that changes the game with everything that's being changed. Now, back into the Plume Castle. We are going to have Bauda actually go through into the western side, but TXJ over to the Pinnacle Town is with merit. These guys have only 4 eliminations. They're third place so far. XCG and DRG, though. These guys are tied for 6 kills each in first and second. We do have OUG, though, with 3 eliminations in fourth. Bauda and KLA have 2 kill eliminations, but FBX and JJH, they both have 1 elimination each. And the remaining of the players between Wolves and JDG through WBG and 521, they're still working with placement right now. They're still looking to try to see about sticking out here for the long run. I know Wolves is going to be really working this out in terms of this lobby. Kai Bao is actually the trios player as a reserve for the Wolves. So with him being in there as a hybrid pick, it would be cool to see his makings into the trios sphere for his team at least. Because he was a solo. He set up the solos gameplay for the V3 Akko, so it's really good to see if any sort of changes like that happen. And I'm looking at SS. My man's running a Mortal Defiance as a Viper. That means as much as you want to kill her, she's ain't gonna die. But talking about going to die, the Altered Tranquility area is having a hot pot of danger coming out here. F3 to avoid QGG actually gets a chance, but a Moonbane drops. This is not a player's. This is the game. This is the RNG aspect. OUG is right smack dab in the middle, and you're going to see JL's TXJ actually utilizing his ultimate, because this is not, if I'm not mistaken, is that a Draco Storm? Or is that a Morris Blessing or a Mystic Might? I'm not sure. It looks to be... There is no buff. This is gold weapons. So they just burned it for a gold Hong Sword and a armor. That's good. I'm okay with that. I forgot that the buff isn't available there. But he drops Jays. These guys are swapping Jays really quickly onto the dime. I'm thinking that with FX, he's actually going to be using the Meteor here. Maybe. Yes. Yeah. He switched out the Jays for that. For VVV to have some melee defense Shades as into his kit. So we'll see how that one ends up. And as they're swapping out in and out. Now FX, Fan, Takeda, level 3 ultimate. This is going to be a good chance to see how it kind of works out with his team, because if this zone closes into a more of a cliff side, he may not have a good chance. But this spot right here for these guys is a great defensive position, because you can see how much rocks, you can see how many walls they have to their side. That'll just be it. If you can hunker down for a little bit, you can avoid shots in one to three directions. KLA 17S has a Starfall, so we'll see if that actually gets utilized here for chasing out targets and confirming it. They're going to be using their Merciless Havoc, as KLA's CXZ actually throws that out here. A lot of these players, you know, I will make notice, these guys play in scrims back-to-back against each other. I was watching some of them coming out here for the last couple of weeks, even earlier on, after like in January and February. But a lot of these guys are actually just like, you know, I mean, it's not to say used to who their opponents are, but more so about getting used to about how they can, you know, counteract any sort of push from enemies, or how they can be aggressive while being smart about it. Right? Like for instance, like Kiki, right? Kiki can just just choose to be in the front line, forcing the dreadful way, or forcing the Dragon War, while her teammates into that comp can just pressure out enemies to be locked down, right? But like, let's say if an F3 coming out from a Tumulch comes out and it's a Follow Wisp, well, Follow Wisp ends up going very, very slow. But if it's slow enough, it can delay the timing for when the blue focus to gold focus comes out, and out of that, you get caught out for the Wisp. So it's really just up to that timing aspect for each of the players and how they want to progress in using that to their advantage. Now, Bauda's Yaran forcing an ultimate. Maybe maybe not the best case scenario, because he is really this team is really close to another team, and TXJ is main reason for that. He doesn't have ultimate, but TXJ up against JL's VVV blocking any range shots to protect his teammate from any of that damage to be made. A lot of range coming in between these guys. The positioning is everything. It's key. It's, you know, the godsend. And Jing is actually going to keep it going with his cavalry bloom coming out here. Sleepwalker, though, ultimate 5-second stun. Come on. Going to have a nice clear shot towards QGG. And QGG had to force his teammates V2 ultimate. It could be canceled now for anything. Save that rage, as 17S can do right now. And he's going to do so. At least has 40% rage onto bar. But he's going to get some musket shots. I saw his rage bar go up. Pampy, I should say, has himself to use V3 here, but could not take anything to utilize it. And that, my friends, this is the power of the Moonbane. This is the Moonbane that I was really worried about in the scene in trios, because in solos, right, we saw Panaman get griefed by it. In trios, another Moonbane at this stage into the round is like, oh man, you're trying to like squeeze into an like under the stairwell, under attic, like you're Harry Potter. And all of a sudden, Dudley wants to walk into the room. That's the Moonbane in this case scenario. It's not something you can kind of avoid. And it's going to be in your breathing room as you're trying to escape. Maybe you're trying to force enemies out. But then all of a sudden, boom, a whole, you know, a radius of like 60 meters to be denied for you. It's not a fun time. NiHQ, though, was really hot pocketing that ballista. So as good as it comes out of here, he's definitely gonna have his chance of just being able to get some extra damage, maybe for MVP. You know, maybe we'll see that. Blista, like how we saw in the Blista stats once before. But Kiki, JDG, these guys are not in a good spot. Cannon shots can actually still affect these guys if they're hitting off their edge. But a lot of these players are stuck into this cross path, and I think this might be a really, really strong chance for TXJ to actually lock in the kill. And there it is. Ao Xiao goes down. TXJ goes to the sky with his pole sword swing, and I think he actually looking for another R&B slam or downward spiral as it comes out, and he's going to see another kill. Yin is actually going to be eliminated for now, but Wolves' Sem, that's really huge with the V1 ultimate. And he gets an opportunity of just conjoining forces with the enemy team, and they took the ultimate kill steal of the century with that massive amount of just pressure that they just got put on. It's actually kind of unfortunate. A lot of kills there that were potentially theirs. Like I was like at least 2, and I think they only picked up like 1. Wolves is the Tessa is being out there, and it's a hot pot mess right here. QGG has ultimate. He's waiting it out. He doesn't need to do anything. This is his last repair chest, though. He's going to be looking to try to cannon as much as he can off of Bowden. And they're going to reach the peak here, no pun intended. But with everything coming out from Yaron, he gets Merciless Havoc. 60 gets the elimination for KLA. Big chance for that Merciless Havoc to be used to push off enemies as well as just lock off those range shots. Of course, it's a staple for the trios comps, at least. As a reminder, when he had that Jade, you can just block off any sort of hits. Oh, double cannon coming downward. Oh, my goodness. Peak goes down here. We're going to see QGG. R&B comes out for the beacon drop. Xiaoyan going to see his teammate NiHQ get in there. And NiHQ is going to be walking around and try to get up into the high ground and heal up. Oh, cannon mode immediately. Focuses it on the CXZ. CXZ. Not going to be the only one in trouble. QGG actually climbs his tree, and there's like 3 enemies on there. NiHQ gets some time to reset if he can. He's looking pretty low on supplies, though. His teammates... they're going to be looking really nicely done in terms of farming that ultimate rage back. As Farius Shen casts the beacon down, if another teammate gets into the mech and starts using it, she can start building up rage. So as long as she's doing that, they should be good so far for the Cannonball comp. And XCG is proving that right now, 9 eliminations. Now, so is DRG with 8 eliminations in second place with 8 kills, but this is going to be a fight for the final circle in the next 2 minutes. It's up to these guys to see about them pushing this match to its full utmost limit. QGG still has ultimate still. Holding on to it. Keeping tidy note if he needs to push someone at the very end or in the next couple of seconds. Let's take a look at the scene here. Oh, Mercer's Havoc onto the zone. Cannon shot to knock out XCG's team, but I think we just saw a kill off of Jingyu from NiHQ. Kakaxi going to be looking at using the Yorohime ult, and with it, he catches Wushen, who uses F3 to reposition into being in ult status position. That was really smart from Wushen to actually get himself out of a hairy mess. And of course, these guys are going to be looking for it, but there's a Takeda ultimate. QGG actually forces F1 to midair, so that way no one can see it and he can be immune. But I think QGG is going to look to try to invade this with this fan. He's got no more repair chest for that. He looks at Jing. Jing is out in the zone. He's going to counter grapple it. There it is. I think QGG is using ult. Yes, he is. Picks up the Soul Bloom immediately to get that rage back. And then using the R&B coming out here. The F3 can come out from WFZ. Scare rushing to try to get out there. And an ultimate from the Wei Shan. And of course, Moonlight. He's going to be putting the pressure off of the CXC. And as QGG just putting the bomb-tastic fan throws out here. And making sure his stashes or blasts are going to be coming out. 8 eliminations for KLA so far. They're working their ladder and climbing it up the rungs. Sleepwalker gets another ultimate as it comes out for the V1. We're going to see Kakaxi actually look for his chance here to get eliminated by him, but all R&B coming up from QGG. And the Poison Splash as well. QGG gets the elimination. This team is working its magic. 9 kill eliminations. Now they're passing DRG, and DRG is actually one down teammate. They're fully eliminated. Never mind, because Moonlight just got eliminated. PP just got that elimination as JDG goes and stays on. JDG goes for the high ground. You can see Tut is actually being very careful about landing out here. He's got F2 for another second to recast here, and with it, there is going to be a chance for the ultimate cast, and he's going to lock down everybody. TVP goes down. So does OU Jesus U, and that's going to be one to the other. With JDG team is not the one to live, but instead Wolves is EG into that round. That's a really strong point for these guys and to these players. Obviously, as you can see, KLA, they still lick the floor up with their the win. Just because of the MVP. I mean, they got points and everything. Let's take a look at the scores, though. I'm gonna be right back and get the scores for you real fast. And we're back. Scores so far. We're going to see the only placement team coming out here is 521.5. FPX and JJH, remember what happened in the zone. Unfortunately for the zone fights, but it is what it is. WBG, 2 eliminations, 3.2 points. Bauda had 3 eliminations with 3.8 points. We had OUG with 6.7 in 7th. JL's is going to have 7.1, and JDG is going to have 8.1. And with everything coming out from Wolves at that high placement at that point and getting the elimination, that placement point of 4 ranking points just for being in first place is huge. And they're going to have 9.6 points. DRG, though, gets third. 10.6 points in third. 14.7 for XCG in a second. And KLA with a 16.3 game. Now, this is going to be a really, really close bracket. Like, trios is different from solos by the points that, you can get a high point kill game, like a pop-off game, but a really pop-off game could be like a net worth of 20-some points. And then even to the extremities of 30-something points. Like, you can get a really strong point lead to catch up or pop through into the leaderboard and just making the crown just a little bit higher. But this is just game 1. We're going to get into game 2 in just a moment and making sure we get that through and getting the match set up. So let's see. We are here for round 2. Now, round 2 is going to be into Holoroth Cloudy. And considering that the Sand Siphon comp has run through the rotation for Group A, now for Group B to try to tackle that, choice pick. But we're actually going to see Transformer team here. Not into an unfortunate circumstance. I feel like Wolves' choice in choosing the Classico Transformer squad is going to have, some sort of effect. But when everything comes out of it, if any of the AOT comps, such as with JDG, 521, and even to the JL sphere, you could see how these guys will try to, force panic pick the escape pattern of running away from a Tianhai and Ultimate, or saving their teammates from getting grabbed, or just going ahead and fully eliminating them if necessary. But we will go ahead, see what's going through. Sand Siphon comp comes out. Ooh. It's kind of weird. Back to it. But just to showcase in terms of the skills, if anything comes through like a change of like the location, you're not going to see that V3 Viper anymore. It looks like 521 is going to be running the V2, and this is their double pick for these characters. So after this case scenario, choosing these characters are going to cost hero points. With the first 2 uses being consumed, those first 2 uses are not going to cost any hero points. However, once you use a hero the 3rd time, that's when you start to accumulate that. So they're going to have to be very careful in how they want to attribute to using that comp again if they desire to do so, or based off the fact of a different choice pick, especially with the new hero point system with the round pick pool. If you choose a character that's already been preceded 3 times beforehand and you're in the 2nd slot, it will be a +1 for you to choose that character. And even if it comes down to the comp, that's going to be up to 3 points. And then if you do that into the last round pick, if you're the last round of people and there's 5 of the character being chosen, that's a +2 each time. So if you want to consume 6 points like that, you can do that. It's not going to be against your choices, but if you do, if that comp really does the works for you guys, that can make it happen. In the meantime, though, TXJ has no weapon off the rip. He did run initial rage, as I can see, and TXJ is actually going to be locking in against 2D. JDG's PP is going to be coming out here for that kill, and 2D's going to be looking for to try to go ahead and capitalize with that parry with the horizontal. VVV try to go for the F3 off the rip, and that's not going to work out in his favor. This is kind of the war of gear difference, and not having the weapons off the rip is a really key component in having to be in that rushdown type sense. And Tessa's running initial rage is not going to help that cause, but you could use it defensively, or you can try to go ahead and use it offensively and putting out the pressure. Now, Bowder's Peak is going to get locked down here for 1 HP, but it looks like Wolves' EG is going to go down, and so does ZK. But ZK is actually doing the schmooze here, picking up the Soul Bloom, going for the F3 for the defense buff for Zem, and Zem is actually going to have the chance of turning this fight around against Peak and Bowda, and that's going to be giving them a chance. EG is going to be going through. Now, in Yushan Ruins, we're going to see a rinse and repeat. It's a deja vu. A Moonbait in the Yushan Ruins. It looks like DRG's team are going to have that Moonbait to work its favor, but Xiaohu is going to be going down. Actually, scratch that. EpiX's Moonbane is one that's dropping, and DRG are paying the price for it. So I guess sticking around is not going to work in their favor as much. But OUG's Shinyu are going to go to the village with the portal to the southwest of the whole entirety of the northwestern region. But NIHQ from XCG playing the Takeda game, we're probably going to see some shenanigans. He's probably going to switch this into a fan in like a couple of seconds if he can. Yeah, these guys are going to be by near, if I'm not mistaken, Grizzly Rise. So they'll be chilling out over here. And if everything comes out to these, the rotation to the quarry into Plume Castle, you should expect to see that loot pattern coming out. Just getting through the buildings and finding those gold troves or greens if possible for Jades and the gear. Displacement for, level 2 Takeda Ultimate is what they're kind of aiming for. Kayla is going to be over to the Camel's Hump, over to the northwest. These guys did go through and get eliminated for their first life already. So with that being said, they are just looking to try to recoup and recuperate all of their gear and all their, finances as it comes out. There's a lot of stuff here with the caves and having the boxes there and the multi-level systems that they can take advantage of in hopes of, just making sure they can clear that out. Now, XCG's Kakashi playing the Temi this time. These guys won last year, right? So I'm kind of like, I'm expecting to see the results of their, tenacity this year as well. Over by the end of the dunes, though, we're going to see a pressure in Baiji actually having to force his ultimate. Big time stun could come out here. Really big time for him, but doesn't seem like he's going to have any sort of worries. Baiji going to get locked down here. Almost. Kiki actually did this on purpose where he tried to turn the gaze of Baiji to actually force the Takeda ultimate if it came down to it. But it doesn't seem to be the case. They're going to catch Kiki. Kiki has an ultimate cast. If I'm not mistaken, he's got himself... No, he did not. He didn't preempt that at all. But he got the port out anyways, and the enchant comes out. These guys are protected by their Moonbane. Of all things, JDG is going to see a chance of actually resetting here completely. Pi is going to be actually looking to try to buy some things from the shop supplies, anything of the nature that can help him out to sustain this push. But WBG is running into the clockwise position of this Moonbane and trying to see if they're going to be trying to dip out from one corner to the next. And Baiji is actually going to be rushing this down, trying to get an eye on things, keeping a good gaze and seeing how these guys are going to want to process a push. Now JL's TXJ goes to the shop, keeps himself going. These guys don't have much gold to kind of work with, but the 5-2-1 team is nearby. And this is going to be the AOT comp. I'm hoping to see what they can kind of muster against the the other AOT comp to come through. But looking at FX, he has his portal, I believe, placed considering his rage isn't up. So taking this fight, if they don't, is going to be a huge risk on their on the far right position of the high ground. But Baiji is actually getting locked into a corner. He got saved by an F1 and a hold check and an RB spam, and the fan is going to be proven why it's such a strong weapon. I mean, like, come on, like when you get a 2-hitter blue weapon like that allows for so much opportunity for just having your teammate go for a stagger or for a blue focus themselves. And if they have a fan, you guys just can play ping pong, against each other with the RBs from the fan. So the target can't get out of that. They don't have a combo breaker. And if they don't have a combo breaker, they're just going to succumb to that force. Now, into this north of the Serpent's Pass or west of the Serpent's Pass, you're going to see a lot of these teams actually just try to keep the range game as much as they can until the time comes. Dongqing going to go into his mode of being able to throw his F1 in the air, so that way if he sees anything coming out from the enemies, like a wild haymaker blue focus, he catches them out of it. Beacon gets dropped, and Dongqing's going to have to dip out here because considering that Yu's teammate was able to drop that SS, is going to build up still some extra rage by having himself into the ground unit form as a Farius Shen. OUGU has himself to heal up here. He's going to have a full reset as it comes out. He's got 3 cannon shots. He's looking for a Zhao. He's going to get not going to get knocked out by the first shot or the second one. He's just playing the scare rush. He gets hit by the third. And underneath the overpass. Oh my goodness, a stun coming out from the icicle is unfortunate for Dongqing. For everything coming out from that icicle, I wouldn't want to count it against this guy, man. He didn't know. He didn't know. But that's the environmental risk that comes out of these type of matches, and water goes down as well. That's a full no, they still have one person that has a life. It's Dongqing, Xiaohu, and water. Yeah, they have still a life, so they're still good to go. But a stun like that, unfortunate. Now, as OUG has as much money as you can see, they could go for any sort of shop of abundancy of finding new weapons, or just going ahead and buying Jades. Usually that's the best case scenario. Jades is going to give your team more of opportunities of weapon selection and just being able to use different Jades of that nature. Whether or not you want to try to see about getting range Jades, it's best to see if you do. If you can get a meteor, one of your team can run the cannon, keep the pressure on, rotate. Cannonball comp really works off of being able to build out rage with the Fairy Shen beacon being allowed for her to build up rage while her teammates use the mech. So if they were able to find a repair role, find the opportunity of those two with the best case scenario of a ranged weapon of purple rarity for the cannon, they'll definitely just take full advantage of that and just keeping her moving into the rage department. See, it's a strong point to see these guys builds, after the fact, after they win with said builds, because when it comes to certain talent glyph boards, the certain minute differences can make or break a comp just because of the economy side of it, or it's to the self-preservation side of it. If a team or if a player uses rage damage to maximum efficiency, that's the reason then they get rage for all the times that they fight, right? And so if they don't want to try to share that, it's completely understandable, because it's like one percentage point difference can make all the difference if it's a long term, right? It's kind of like a Formula One race where you get a lap around and you're doing better by 0.8 seconds, or you're doing better by 1.2 seconds. So a big marginal side of things where multiple laps accrue, and let's say you run 30 laps into it, and that's 30 seconds that you have now in the lead. So that's the same thing with rage. If they're building more rage in the percentage points into a prolonged fight where there's 30 players and they're hitting cannon shots, each person is like an extra 3%, right, of damage being dealt every time they hit a cannon shot. And if that comes to the case, they hit them 10 times with the cannon. That's 30% rage. 30% rage off of a single 10 run with the cannon. That right there is like, okay, maybe we got to be careful about that, right? In the meantime, though, into Rum Yang, KLA 6Z is going to have his chance of being able to look towards and using a preemptive F2. He's looking to try to recast if he needs to against Yoran. Yoran uses his F2. There it is. Uppercut is for free. And Yoran actually gets himself almost caught out here to actually forces himself to use ult. But KLA's 17S is going to be inside the beacon. Peak is trying to lock down into QGG, but he's backing off here. He's trying to get to the Fairy Shen mech, and while Yodohime is in that, she wants to try to get out of it and use her ultimate. Now would be the time if she had it. But no, actually, a 17S is the Fairy Shen beacon. My mistake. And it looks like QGG is actually going to be looking to try to lock down the enemy Fairy Shen. There's going to be Yoran's ultimate to be deducted. Now it seems that Yoran is going to see a little bit of chance to try to capitalize on this fight. Bauda's peak is going to do the 1v1 against QGG. CXZ can't do anything here. The Dreadful Whale is going to be too much pressure. He doesn't have an F3, right? F2, Yodohime is what we're seeing. Yoran, though, getting full scaled out of this realm. There it is. But with those two teammates to back up, they are able to get that kill. Baodag actually wins this realm. Yang is pretty susceptible to changing out how they want to push it later on. And now there's a gold spear. It's going to be a gold staff in the meantime. And yeah, Vermilion Birdsmite picked up. Now you can see White Tiger's prowess is actually in that lineup for the buffs in the first realm. Yang. It's invaluable. It's super duper, you need to get Vermilion Birdsmite. Just because like if you lose a fight, you can reset, right? You don't have nothing to worry about. You can find a different spot to spawn. Heck, you can actually die and then burn out the time to wait until the next Rama Yang if you have high enough kills in the first couple of minutes into the match before the first shadow closes. So if you really look towards it, you could get your chance of going through on the end. And of course, it would be something to kind of keep in touch with. Now, as SS is going to be looking to cannon out this push coming out from DRG, we do have to note that as DRG is pushing away into near the northeast of the Ice Shard Lake, SS is going to be the first person to want to try to be in here. So is you especially. And this is the power of the Yodohime. This is what you have to understand as Yodohime is going to have her chance of being able to lock in a forward, shunt push towards the enemy team. And what happens then is that they'll actually be able to just have that F2 out preemptively, force the blue focus, and then that's a game of chicken against opponents. You need to look towards and trying to use that much pressure for your team to then be just a backup. And when you go in, right, you have a combo breaker with your F2 recast. And the other thing about it is that are you forcing ultimates from the enemy team? Is Takeda going to cast it out? Is he going to catch you out? And if he is going to catch you out, can your teammates then use their abilities? And this, in the meantime, WFZ is going to be seeing this full-fledged, reasoning. He's getting rezzed right now, but I think he uses casted ultimate with no rage. None of these guys have a chance of getting out of this for scot-free. And as you can see, DRG's Moonlight is getting almost locked down here. Wushin definitely, but OUG's Xingyu and SS though are putting this work in, and with the V3 slashes coming out here, Yu's going to pick up the Soblum, go right back into it. That's the pressure of what you can do with that Yodohime to be the initiator into the fight. At 3 Fairy Shen is only there to knock back in silence, and as well as giving a gold focus hit against targets, you know, like a long ways away. It's a 20-second cooldown skill. You have more than enough opportunity there to be able to use your range to your advantage. Actually, I like that. I like the fit that Xiaohu has. But also to the Wei Shan to actually show up there, and that's the Wei Shan is there to use to counteract the Takeda ultimate, as well as the Temi ultimate if it really does come down to it. Because if Wei Shan wants to use the Temi ultimate or his ultimate against Temi, if he's got V3, he can really secure his Yodo to get away from the ultimate itself with the V3's effects of Wei Shan, which gives not only immunity to Viper stuns, for instance, but it does give immunity towards the Temi ult for, you know, not being caught out into it, the wind wall. Now, Mystic Might is getting done. XCG didn't pick that up from a Romy Yang, if I'm not mistaken. They should have been able to pick it up from a Morris Blessing on the overworld. But going to this replay, Sand Siphon versus Sand Siphon, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be the betterment of the two. Let's take a look and see. Because I see, no, that's a Cannonball comp. WBG versus Cannonball comp. Let's take a look at the scene here. Yu's going to get caught in the Aurora Burst. There's nothing he can do. And once you get silenced, it's kind of over. And if everything comes out from the teammates, they're going to be looking in. Xingyu pops his ultimate as a Wei Shan. But the timing is right for Baiji to actually get those staggers. So Wei Shan can get staggered if he's not doing any animation. If he's doing an animation, he will not be staggered, like such as his attacks. But Baiji is actually going to be looking towards and using the timing aspect of once the attack ends to launch that Takeda Furin Blast with V3 and give himself a free blue focus for his fan for a double hit, and as well as for his team to actually get a full priority off that end as well. Wills' Zem, though, is inside of the Yushan ruins and towards his zone, finds a res, gets his teammate back. Give me ZK, and ZK actually gets his a blue armor. I'm not sure if Follow the Recall works for your teammates. I think it does. I have to double check that. I haven't seen that actually. I've never seen Follow the Recall this late in the game to be utilized as much, even into the live games, because it's kind of like a basis of it. But it's a J that's like, you know, it's wishy-washy in terms of the choice of keeping it into the later end. But if it's all you got, it's all you got. Now, while these guys are waiting for the Romy Yang to enter, they're just waiting for someone to contest it. And no one's contesting it. So, you know, I mean, as it comes out, no one's gonna contest it. We're gonna take full advantage of taking that spot in. But Baiji has full ultimate for Takeda here. Level 3 ultimate. Looking at the Jades, if Sleepwalker has anything up to the bar, it's probably going to be, if I can see his weapon, but, you know, it could probably be one of the basic Jades of the weapon that he's using primarily for the attack. Now, over into the Plume Castle, elimination coming out against Pai with TX Jade grabbing it. VVV grabs the kill off a Tut, and then this is a V1 Wu Chen ultimate to get them out of danger. And there it is. Perfectly done by FX. Because XEG, they're running an ultimate comp. They're running a team comp that can take Morris Blessings. And if the Morris Blessing has gold weapons, for instance, you know, you won't get a rage back. But if it does have a basis of being an ultimate-based regen buff, they can use their ultimates as to whatever they please, pick up the buff, and then get their such as if it was a Mystic Might, such as a White Tiger's Prowess, and then get the rage back. Draco Storm will not restore rage back for your ultimate if you use your ultimate preemptively, such as if you were to win a Romy Yang with it, with your ultimates being used, or if you're using the overworld. Now, OUG Xingyu is actually be in ultimate form as a Wei Shan, as a current Kurumi is now at a deficit. It looks like KLA's 17S is going to drop right through here. Dongqing actually going to feel full pressure. Water gets down immediately, and with everything coming out from 17S, he's going to be pulling the pressure off of Dongqing, but Dongqing goes down. He doesn't even have ult. He doesn't have a chance of denying this, and then there is NiHQ. NiHQ actually having himself a Draco Storm. The timer up there says a minute or 120 seconds, i.e. 2 minutes. Draco Storm got buffed. It's 3 minutes. It's 180 seconds. So this is where the choice matter comes into between whether or not these players are going to use that. Oh my goodness. Nice F3 shot coming out from 17S though. Xiao Hu is going to be coming out into the Jin Armory. You're going to see the F2 to deny any sort of pressure coming out from that dreadful, or from that, if I'm not mistaken, was that a Dragon War? Yes, that is a Dragon War. They are going to want to prioritize getting this kill. Xiao Hu does go down completely. Gets gives the enemy team the Dragon War for that point. Wolves' ZK is still alive. He is the only person to be res. Zem was able to grab the res, but wasn't able to be able to go forth and keep the teammate alive. A res coming out here from Zem, though. This is huge. As DRG's Moonlight is left behind, Parry comes out clean, and then there's a kill confirmation. And that's going to be 6k gold. I'm not sure there's any other reses. XEG, though, rushing right back into this area. DRG's Moonlight going down, but Wolves needs to get out here ASAP. And unfortunately, they don't know what direction to actually go through, because considering XEG finds them, the Draco Storm activity is run it. W key energy is going to be the only thing coming out from this buff, as it should, because the amount of damage and staggers that come out with the healing that you get while being offensive, it's going to be what one thing is left behind that NA is going to always keep in touch, and that's going to be just rush it down. Don't even worry about it. And for CN, with the 3-minute buff, like you running Draco Storm is going to be a 60 heal towards the holder of the Draco Storm every single like tick, and on top of that, the damage that comes out of it is just like 140 or something. So enemies will not have any opportunity getting parries if the timing is wrong on their end, where the Draco Storm can hit a dragon strike of lightning, and you're donezo. Now, AOT comp versus Transformers, this is what I was talking about between Wolves. This was from early on. We're wondering what happened to Wolves, bro. And that would make sense. The crazy thing is that as much as you saw the Tianhai not do anything during that whole ultimate happening from Pampy, he couldn't even F. He couldn't even do that. And as long as Pampy keeps his modem of having an F3 shield walls, you saw Wu Chen actually. Let's bring that back real quick, because what happened here is this. Pampy was able to utilize his V2 and not worry about Pampy was able to get his V2 off and not worry about his about getting grabbed, because Tianhai won't be able to jump with that V2 being active. He won't be able to slam down with that. You can see the shield walls coming out between this direction and this direction. It protects Pampy from any sort of grabs that come out from 521's Wolves' EG. So as a Tianhai can't do anything, there's going to be confirmed stun. There's going to be a confirmed Tessa enchant for all 3 targets. And as these guys are going to be rushing this down, we know what happens here. ZK is going to be eliminated here in the next seconds. But more importantly, it's the fact that these players are actually going to be seen to, showcase that comp and how effective it can be. But Velocity Untold coming out here. Pampy having F3 for the shotgun blast. Locks on EG with a spear. The whole check onto the velocity is one thing, but, once you have team, you can just delay it out and wait for your team to actually force to stagger with normal attacks. Now, 17S with KLA. All these guys have purple armor. Excuse me. But with everything into this build, you can actually see they're going to find JJH as Godly into this position where he'd rather not be in. But CXC is going to use his cannon as he's going through and shooting these shots. A lot of Jades in these guys' selection, but I'm not seeing any range Jades for CXZ for the ultimate. So we'll see if 17S is actually going to be the one who carries them all. 5 eliminations for KLA so far into this game for round 2. And for KLA coming out here for that round, very nicely done for them catching up to this plate. I do see them making their chances of getting to, they still had their plays into last season, but they are still making it happen this season. And I mean, for the scrims and scoring alone, they're doing pretty good. I do want to see them going up against ALL, though. I do want to see how they kind of progress against that team, because that team's roster had some updates. So if anything comes out of it between the two, that's where it really heads on to the head over heels territory of their performance. But about as Yaron, we're going to see this pole sword horizontal action. Yaron goes for the cannon shot, hits TXJ. We're going to see him back off here. It gets actually high ground position with the pole sword and the geyser. And actually raining down hell as it comes out. Of course, I do want to see Yaron try to see about pole sword action, but I don't think he wants to do that just yet. You got to see how this ends up. JL's is TXJ, though, getting forced out here out of the building or to the corner. We're going to see Kakaxi. he has himself a common cannon, and that's perfect. You know, if it has a burn effect towards it, he's going to take full utilization of it. Here's an ultimate, though, and that's going to be for the Morris Blessing. This Morris Blessing is gold weapon, gold armor, so these guys are going to really want to make sure they can get this going for their team. And Kakaxi's actually putting the pressure by using this wind geyser to his advantage and keeping the high ground and just looking to try to get himself through there. You can see he's picking up the Jade. It might be repair roll. It might be something else completely. It could be soul release, if anything. If he gets a kill, he can use his wisp again. And that's huge, especially with his choice pick of being Tumult and having that ability to be utilized. Because, you know, Kurumi can use her F ultimate or her F skill every so often, but she may not be the one that's attacking. The F1 Wisp, though, you can throw that out there. You could be using ranged weapon. You can get a kill with it, reset your Wisp. And that's a reset on your combo breaker, by the way, as a Tumult. So for his combo breaker, he's going to have to really use it in a manner of fashion that doesn't catch himself out. Now his SS kind of comes out of here. Yu's going to go for the burst arrow hit to get to see him locking it through here. I think you might be looking for more of a way of charging this up. WBG by G, actually using the crossbow into the distance. Looking at the Jades here. SS has ranged Jades, must be Rupture Gale Orb. And actually I can see whether or not Xing Yu is actually using musket with a slow shot possibly. Could be. If he gets armor pierce, it's kind of over, but you know, we'll see if that happens. Because if someone can get caught out here with an armor pierce and they are locked into an animation of running away or anything, and he's careful with his shots, he can actually just double shift deletion them if they don't have range resistance. But VVV is running this round. These guys have a high ground position and a lot of terrain to their advantage with everything coming out of here, so they should be safe. These buildings, though, over to this region, the Cinnabar Valley, though, this is where it really comes to kick in. Of if someone does get forced out of their building, or rather, if they get forced out of their side of control, their fort, can they use, you know, no ultimate to get out? Because teams can actually just push this out. They can push this, like a Cannonball comp can push this out if need be with the F2 Yodo, right? Like, she is the game of chicken. You use your ultimate, you know, and it really depends if you really want to use your ultimate inside of a building, because when Wei Shan uses his ultimate, does he use it inside or outside? Because he can't get in. If he can't get inside, then that's going to be you know, detriment for that Yodohime. She can't do anything about it, because it's a locked in here with me, you know, I'm not locked in here with you moment, and it won't work to her favor if that's the case. But these guys are by Poison Hill. Like I said in the beginning, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last yesterday for day one, but for solos, the Cloudy reduces the amount of shrooms that are available in the overworld. So you'll actually see more chances for Cloudy to actually be, you know, a choice spot in terms of where the teams are going to be presiding, because, you know, you can see the attack shrooms, the red shrooms, the raid shrooms is called that, and those raid shrooms are actually going to be the ones that are going to be more commonplace than the purple ones. I'm looking at Kayleigh's gold Jade roster. That's intense. Actually, it's kind of funny. I see CXC is rocking double of the same gold Jade, so we're going to have to see how he's kind of operating off of that end. But CXC is going to be using Dreadful Whale here, and that's going to be the case. Double Dreadful Whale for his pick. He's getting cannon. He's burning through resources. He's trying to counteract the cannons by using his own Kayleigh's QGG. Is actually going to use the Dragon Warrior to deny those range shots. But CXC, he's pushing too hard into this. He needs to back off and try to get some more heals if he can without the burn effect affecting his healing. And there it is. It's happening again. He's burning more heals. He is rushing way too much into that point. To the point where I'm thinking his XCG is like, yo, this guy's low. And they could technically push that, but they won't. They can't. They have to wait until the other teams are finished off with their fights or get more preoccupied between each other. Now, VVV's in the same boat here. Supplies are at 3 to 6 for Healing Berry, the armor powder ratio. You know, TXJ has himself to have, you know, full ultimate, maybe 1 or 2 casts. But we will see that coming out here because it looks like WBG gets a kill off of JDGs from Gene Tutty and the Pai Pai. But with this Wu Chen port, if no one saw it, that res could be possible. And I'm not sure if that res is possible. I'm trying to find them on the map, considering that it's coming out here. KLA finds OUG in this building. I'm not sure if the Pai Pai got the reset. I don't know if Tootie got the reset. These guys are somewhere in between. I think they actually did get those resets. Actually, let me see. I don't think so. Well, Bout of Peak actually finds Kiki down. OUG's U is going to use his F2 to try to push off any sort of enemies. CXC gets into the beacon, but with these burns, I don't think he's going to have enough time to live here. He's using Vitality first, or the healing berry is very quickly done, but this is going to be a swarm spam against the Fairy Shens. And with everything coming out from CXZ, he's actually going to be getting into cannon mode as a final hurrah with his Yodo Hime, using the ultimate and capitalizing as much damage as possible. It's a risky move. He's got ultimate himself and trying to look for it and trying to steal the kills with those cannon shots, but CXZ are going to be backing off. In the meantime, though, switching over to the view, Bout is holding their fort down here. Or OUG is definitely holding the fort down here. JJH is Godly actually at the low enough point, and I think WBG's A-Shao is going to actually burn out here. Godly goes down, Moran goes down. Yu's going to keep holding the high ground, and with his ultimate coming out from Viper, whether or not VVV is going to be looking to try to get himself into there, you're going to see VVV is actually, wait a second, he is the only V3. He's trying to showcase this is how you do it, the burst. I didn't realize that until now. I didn't see any action from him except for us getting a pan view of him like walking around. I haven't seen his ultimate be casted here before, but it looks like VVV is going to be the one to try to rock this into this round. NiHQ going to be using the Gold Swarm against you, and with everything, Baiji goes down from Bauda's peak. NiHQ try to keep the Swarm, keep it going. He's got V3 still. He's still got himself at maximum capability for the extra slashes coming out, for the extra staggers. Bowda's Jing is actually going to shoot out. Oh my goodness. Peak comes in from the Abyssal Aura, or the Aurora Burst from the sky, and keeps himself in the back line. He just dropped in there and then dropped it. He just dropped the blue focus, which I don't know if he wants to do that against a Takeda, but VVV actually locked himself out of the zone. CXC is throwing out these dreadful whales. And then you're going to see QGG actually going to be the one that actually get fully sent out here for an enchant. And Atemi actually locks down both of these players inside of their own demise. But CXZ, QGG, they're looking up against Xiaonan, and Xiaonan gets a heal off, and that's going to be a little bit of a detriment to their health bar, because right now they're going to be floating down. QGG goes down. NiHQ gets caught in the Aurora Burst. He can't use any of the Cicada Fury and Blast to actually stop this push. And we're going to see it. NiHQ rushes back into this other corner, and F1 Wisp coming out here. And this is where the Karumi and the Temi works into their best favor with that sand mode engaged, with the energy being deducted if anybody passes through it. V3 comes out again, though. It looks like VVV is going to go down. Didn't have much coming off of this end, but these guys got 4 eliminations into this lobby. Bout is actually going to see a chance here to try to lock down CXZ. CXZ does go down. And NiHQ, he's down below, but his team, they're in the sky. The enemy's team is in the sky. TXJ gets caught out here by trying to do a mid-air blue. Try to be sneaky with it. Not going to happen here. Another Aurora Burst. Connect it into a rubber band, and that's it. as fast as lightning. Iran goes into this position. TXJ gets into a port into the building, right to the edge of the zone. A minute left before these guys stop fighting. We're going to see an Aurora Burst come out here. Again, TXJ going to get a confirmed enchant and an ultimate cast coming out from NiHQ. He's trying to go for it. Trying to disenchant, can't do it because it looks like the F2 coming out from you is going to deny that coming out here, but no kill confirmation off of NiHQ here. That poison splash doesn't affect him. And as it comes out here, FX is actually going to buy some time for this team into the sky. OUG's U is going to be going up there as a try to way to contest it. TXJ has some chance here. Sees the Yoda Himeo. Not a good. Has no F for the invulnerability. Gets caught into the Temi circle, and that's going to be a kick in the face scenario if he gets one slash to the face. But there's nothing to give him enough time to live. NiHQ, XEG, these guys are really working this round to their benefit. U is the only person left besides their own team, and that's going to be it. And with everything coming out for these guys, the amount of kills that they're getting, 13 kills. It's got to be that mouse pad, man. It's got to be that mouse pad. I'll be back. Let's take a look at the scores right here. It's like, hey, don't talk bad about my mouse pad. This is limited edition. I'm like, hell yeah. So let's go take a look in the scene about that. And talking about that, scores are here. Second round. JJH is going to be rocking out here with 0.5 for the placement, but DRG got 3 eliminations in this round with 3 kills. JDG got 3 kills as well. They got a little placement multiplier there as well, but with 3.8, that's the case scenario. EpiX got 4 eliminations flat. We did see Fight 2-1 get 6.5 points. Wolves actually end up with 7.5 for KLA, and JL had 8.5. This is good. And then here comes the shift. This is where it just really goes down to the point values doubling. And this is the case with OUG. OUG shows up here with 15.1. WBG shows up with 16.4. Baudo with 18.4 and XEG with 22.2. And those guys ended up with near double digits, the top 4 into this lobby. And, with the scores coming out of this end, the standings should have these scores to be calculated to have XEG at the top. It should be. I'll see about how these guys' scores come into place on the fly. Because XGG, they did the work. The Takeda, the Sand Siphon with the Kurumi, it really puts a new head, a new spin on whether or not Kurumi is viable, or rather, not Kurumi being viable. If the Titan comp, the Transformer comp, if it's still viable. And of course, if she is, she'll actually force a comp change. Maybe switch out the Transformers for a different type of comp. Maybe Wombo is back in the meta. I'll stop. No, but they'll get denied in Wombo combo if the teams find V1 Volda. JJH though in the last place so far with 1.5. FPX with 521 with 7. JDG with 11.9. The RG with 13.6. JL with 15.6. That's the underling for the gatekeeper. Whoever's in 6 is the gatekeeper. 6th place overall. So, well, JL is going to be into that realm of things. Let's take a look in the scene with their scores. They did pretty good in their first and second game, keeping the average of points at a good modicum of a flow. As long as they keep that energy going, JL shouldn't have an issue with catching those scores. Remember, JL has former Team TE teammates, so they can make that happen, especially with their playstyles in the past. Wolves, though, is going to be the gatekeeper with 16.6. WBG is actually going to have 19.6. Excuse me. In 5th place, OUG with 21.8. 22.2 for Bauda, KLA with 23.8, and 36.9 for XCG. So, I mean, as expected, XCG working their magic and keeping the leaderboard pretty high on end. You could see between the first match between them and KLA how it's like, okay, it's a in between line, it's a couple of points, and then in the second round that deficit just grew. So between KLA, Bauda, and OUG and WBG, those guys are really close between each other. Any game, any players, any teams from the below half can end up catching up with a single good game. But with that being said, end of the second round, we're gonna get into round 3, and then with that, we'll have this to be a conclusion to part 1 for today, and then part 2, for today as well. But you know what I'm saying. And we are into round 3. So round 3, we're back into Hollow Rock Sunny. This is gonna be a comp choice coming out here. Where we're actually gonna see more of the AOT. We're getting back. Like I say, like the Sand Siphon is gonna stay here to keep. It's just the Kurumi swap. EG is rocking the Kurumi for Wolves. OUG is rocking the Zipping Ying. And you can see that like the Zipping Yings are still gonna stay into the comp as much as it comes through. OUG or XEG's finesse of using that comp to their benefit is quick to none. But they're also gonna be rocking the Viper comp, the AOT comp. So one thing I want to say is that this comp right here, the JL's Matari swap out, I've heard about this comp being possible. I feel like the comp itself has its benefits, but the flaws is the timings of how offensive you can be with your ultimate in a long period of time. Not a short amount of like Matari's have an ultimate that's like, okay, Matari has an ultimate that's basically going through and being like, it's short burst, but it's not to the extent of being burst enough, if you know what I'm saying, because it's 16 seconds, right? And you need to use your backstabs, but that's only available on cooldown, and that's only if you're not getting attacked. That's where the F1 kind of works off its end. And if it works out for TXJ to rock it for this round, we could see it work, but if not, they're going to stick to the staples unless they find a way of actually working that niche. But I'm looking at the abilities, kind of standard. Let me go back up here real quick. I want to see something. Nothing changed. Never mind. Let's see. So V2 coming out from SS, from OUG for the sand wall to give the energy back for the team, as well as with Sleepwalker. That's kind of like the other option for these guys. And then into the round 3s, we will see with. I mean, I don't think anyone from KLA is going to change their skills. Maybe from 521, but I doubt it. I don't think Unique's going to rock the V3. Yeah, he's rocking the V1. So that's going to be the case. Okay, so I'm looking at the JL comp. I can see it on paper. The V3 Matari Ultimate. The reason I see it on paper is because V3 Matari Ultimate is a 12-second ultimate that provides 50% lifesteal, and yeah, it also resets your teammates' skills. But the problem is that it works out kind of. V1 is available for Weishan. Like, I can write this on paper and say this comp is god tier because look, listen, Matari, Weishan goes in the ultimate and he uses his F1, boom, a lot of damage comes out. And the Matari uses the ultimate after her ultimate and it resets that skill. And the control again gives Weishan another V1F. It's a win-win, right? On paper. Now let's put this into perspective. You get caught in the silence as a Weishan. You get caught into a Test Enchant. Matari is not immune to Test Enchant, right? VVV can't drop a beacon to her as fast as he can, right? Then what happens? Like, it's a big push where, okay, Takeda pushes off Matari from a backstab, right? Like, and Tumult ults and Matari no longer has a way of getting out of dodge because all the enemies are inside the ultimate. So she has an auto marker for the backstab to hit enemies inside the ultimate. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with JL's decision on that comp, but if it's like, we can make it work, if because Farrier Shen is a god and she can get herself out of trouble without ease, okay, run it. But we'll see. Our players are going to be dropping in here. A lot of Yushan Ron. Actually, no, that's Imperial. No, that's it's not Imperial. That was Yushan runs, right? Has to be. Yeah, it's Yushan runs. Okay, yeah, they're going to be hanging out there. And with that, Game 3 is going to begin. Again, I would prefer you guys get a chance of watching this, the live broadcast with the casters. Dobby and Seb are going to be the ones casting for today, so make sure you guys don't miss that one out. We are going to take a look at the scene about this first round over by this village. I think Dongqing finding blue armor off the rip is phenomenal. WFC actually finds a chance of looking out for the ice butterflies. Initial rage gives him a necessary enchant that could just switch the fight up. XCG 9HQ in the same boat gets parried though, and as a result, parry comes out here. The enchant comes off of WFZ. He doesn't have an F1 ability. He used it to iframe or invulnerability state for the cast, and 9HQ gets caught through, does not get caught into the enchant, and with 9HQ actually caught into a shotgun blast coming out from the F3 Viper, it's a close call between both of these guys, man. Both of these teams are at a close position, but it looks like 9HQ, Xiaoyan, they're about to go down with their teammate Kakaxi because Kakaxi is getting caught out here with those staggers. 9HQ is now in a position to buy it himself. And, this team is going to be caught through for extra eliminations. DRG wins this out with 5 eliminations. That's an amazing start off these ends. JJH is godly, though. Gets caught through for Moran to get parried, and Pampy actually finds himself with a lot of R&Bs coming out for the fan, or LMB for the Wind Blast. There's going to be enough chance for another parry. Moran sees the F1 opportunity, or F3, I should say. Pampy might be looking for his chance here. Sees a parry coming out. Moran keep throwing those blues, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, there it is. These guys tried to find... Okay, so Wu Chen got grappled. They found it. They know the location of where he's at. When he's ulting, you can actually grapple Wu Chen or, any of the teammates that actually have the chance of being able to find that out. CXC, though, has the F2. TXJ finds the F2 again. Going to dip out here. He's not going to take any more damage. He doesn't want to take any more damage. He is the Matari, right? So, comes out, KS or 17S actually finds that kill. And FX gets fully eliminated here. JL actually loses their first round of lives. So 17S survives, or really put it the pressure with a dagger grapple strike, and committed to it. Now, Water really going to be looking to try to chase this out. FPX is going to be on their last limbs. We're going to see whether or not Water wants to try to rush this back into place. Xiaoyan sees a chance here. And if everything comes out, Kakaxi actually finds an opportunity of getting eliminated really quick. The enchant comes out here, but they didn't chase out the kill. They didn't chase out the grapple. They didn't try to see about it. WBG, though, finds KLA. Into the region over here, I'm not sure if JL's lurking, but this Moonbane cast from WBG is pretty preemptive, meaning that they hadn't been able to lock down any of these guys in a position where they could utilize that Moonbane in an efficient manner. Like with the Tumultuals. Tumultual is the easiest case scenario of you locking down your enemies in a Moonbane, but it didn't happen. And they're going to use it outside. A parry comes out. CXC doesn't have a combo breaker. Nice whisk throw coming out here. CXC finding his weapon again. F2 to force out the staggers. Gets himself out of the zone of the tumult circle. And with that recast, he's going to have a chance of locking down WBG's BaiG. BaiG has not a fun time here. The heal over time, though, is going to be substantial, though, from the Ziping Ying. And GG, or QGG, is locking this one in. He's like, no. You ain't going to get way out there. That's the aromatherapy does not come out here for the ult or for the F1. And then with the flower, giving to the Ziping Ying, I mean, she's at least to survive a little bit longer, right? CXZ finds Sleepwalker here. F2 to recast. Substantial damage. That skill, okay. So that skill's tracking is really extreme when it comes down to being able to catch it in solo sphere. But in a trios environment, like the tracking like that in the trios, like you saw how he was able to utilize the F2 Yoruhime just early on to this fight to get out of the tumult circle. Even though he had no energy, he wasn't caught into the sandstorm. He could use his ult safely to teleport around outside of the tumult ultimate, and that's huge. Because inside out, it's difficult. The enemy can go in any direction, but if you're outside of the ultimate, if they run back in, they're locked into that cage. OUG's you, though, anticipating every one of those attacks coming up from 17S until he gets a soul break. And 17S just did that 1v1, like no problem. Actually being able to, circumvent that. OUG's is SS and the King, they're rushing back to try to res the teammate. You actually, I don't know if he's salty resed. I think he did. Wait, so you held E, and he's gonna res here. He gave the elimination to 17S. I'm not sure as to why. Maybe he thought that that the team shouldn't need to come back to that body, because if there's another set of teammates for 17S in the backline, that would have given him the opportunity for them to actually grab an extra eliminations. But ZK up against KLA's CXZ. Preemptive ults to pick up the Soul Bloom to get that rage back. And then, hopefully confirm this kill. Now, CXZ has ultimate active. He teleports up to the sky. Dodges that slash. F3 is still available for his teammate to actually utilize from EG. EG actually going to be trying to just keep the tether as long as possible. If these guys want to push down ZK, sure, no problem. You're not going to take damage. He's not going to take damage for 4 seconds. Now, the King finds 17S. 17S goes down. We're going to see CXZ actually look for himself to go through the sky. Of course, CXZ actually gets inside the building, finds some shelter. Zem is keeping the... Oh, no. Finds a escape boat. We haven't really tested Fairy Shen in this area as much often, eh? Yeah. And CXZ actually not going to have a chance of actually getting out there. We're going to notice that. That's good. That's a memory bank unlocked right there for knowing that Fairy Shen cannot enter or exit that entry point. But look at this double tumult. Significant. And the wind comes out to the circle. It hasn't been affected yet. The circle hasn't been affected just yet for the wind. But OUG's you gonna find the loop. These guys are killing it so far. 7 eliminations for OUG into this round. Although KLA has 6 in second place, and DRG with 5 in 6th place. XEG is still rocking the 1 kill in the beginning. With the first place position still overall in the standings, so it's still anyone's game. Don't count them out. Romy Yang and the key, the stash is actually going to be opening up here in just a moment. Now these guys are in the zone. They're actually going to lock down into QGG's position. I'm not sure if he's going to use a preemptive F1 to chase this out. There's a soul break. That's clean. That's it. QGG goes down. QGG is actually a very crucial pick, because now that it's only Fairy Shen in there, that's going to be dangerous. BaiG is going to be having himself for the V3. It's only at level 1 Takeda ultimate for the V3, but it's still going to be enough if he's timing this dashes out. And a cannon mode comes out. Look how fast that man is flicking the mouse to try to find him. BaiG has his last Takeda push to come out here. The F1 is going to save him in time here. Even if he does go use it midair, he's still going to have an issue. Yeah. I was about to say, if he uses it in the wrong timing, he could actually lose his F ability because of the cannon shot coming up from the Fairy Shen, and that's going to happen there. So make sure you guys keep careful about that. Don Xing is going to have a chance of chasing out Bai Ji. Of course, Water has himself to really work his points to be made. If Bai Ji is careful enough with it, we could see the 1-2s. I'm not sure if Dong Xing is actually going to have any sort of issues here. You know what? I was just thinking about something. I was just thinking about something else. I think a way for this to be ran, actually in a manner of speaking, it's possible. I think it might be possible. Okay. No, there is a way. There is actually a way for me to actually do this where there's actually in-game audio. I will present it and see if it's possible. But I will, if that does happen, that's a change. All right, F1 comes out here. Pampy goes through. Grapple bump comes out. Ultimate cast is made. Pampy finds himself here. The V3 is going to be the pressure. Remember, the V3 is, you got to remember, the V3 for the Viper is you full send into a fight, but Pampy has his ultimate 2 extra charges left. Bowda gets himself into, Bowda themselves are actually going to have a chance to reset with the Wu Chen shields and rush right back in here. You know, 5-2-1's Yin gets his chance. And of course, if Yin finds his opportunity with these cannon shots, you're going to see it. Horizontal gets negated. The F1 gets thrown out there. Yin actually finds an opportunity here for it. Cannons come out here. We're going to see another jump LMB for forcing the stone form proc. And of course, it looks like Mao is going to be eliminated off of this. And Pampy, oh man, gets parried as Iran goes out to confirm the kill. And now it's going to be a 2v2 peak. Gets the V1 on both targets. A parry like that is substantial. They kill out Peak. They see Iran. They're like, here, I'm going to hold this for you. Yeah, unique. Yeah, 5-2-1 is upsetty spaghetti. I saw that. I could feel that. And a lot of position of that is the reason as to why. And now they're going to be looking to try to work this through. Backing it up. Maybe looking for a way to reset and finding the economy-based system of just finding players that are getting third party and being an aggressive end. NiHQ, though, gets eliminated. WFC gets the elimination. The Godly in his position has a Aurora Burst as a Tessa. Substantial pick for it. I think Teddy is going to be just, being careful. Forbidden Seal is active, so, I'm glad he didn't use his ultimate before the Forbidden Seal is activated. Pi can be looking for this, but Chu is actually getting this pulse ward. The control is immaculate. I don't think Teddy's going to have enough chance to get out of here unless he escapes right now with his team, because PP is really putting himself in the position where he's got to get out. And you got to also remember, right, Godly can't just use V1 enchant because there's no way for him to do so. He can't throw an ultimate in this Forbidden Seal zone. Peak, though, you see this. He's looking, he's cooking. I think Mao was actually trying. Oh, man, Mao could have gotten a sick ultimate if he was just a couple of meters closer towards the fight. He would have been able to use his ultimate to kind of like work it out. Actually, I lied. His ultimate gets canceled the moment he walked into the zone. My bad. But Tessa enchant could work. Actually, if they go off of the top of the bubble. But there's a V3. Ooh, can't walk in there. Oh, can't walk in there. He walks in there. Well, I mean, he did it on purpose, but that's going to be because of if a Matari or a Phantom Step targets, they don't have any sort of issues with this. Of course, Mao's going to be looking to try to work his way through with his pulse sword. Gets parried. Unique gets it. Remember, this is exactly what 5-2-1 is looking for. Find the fight that's happening and initiate, steal it. Find the economy of picking up the soul blooms as fast as you can to try to deny the soul, to deny the Romy Yang depletion. And, there it is. Actually, wait, 5-2-1 won that fight. Close call. I'm thinking about Bowda. But Unique is actually working this through for this team. I think Pampy is actually going to be looking to try to R&B. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me reconfirm. Where are we at? Okay, so I saw what the reason was. They look so disheveled, but the reason why they made the faces, all of that stuff, is like they're locked in. Like they're like, come, let's go. Okay, keep going. that's commitment right there. I enjoy that. I'm like, all right, you know what? Maybe it wasn't because of that. He's like, all right, keep it locked in. No time for celebration. Just keep it going through. And they're doing that, right? Forcing this push. Chu is actually going to have just 1 HP and surviving, but I think Unique found him. While Pampy's looking around, JDG is going to be hiding behind the rock. I see that. But FPX is in the northeast corner as well, waiting this out because there's a lot of fights happening here. They saw a lot of fights happening preemptive to joining into this, concoction of chaos. So open to see how they kind of want to work this one up. Pampy actually has, reason to kind of hold off onto this end, I think. Peak. I don't know. Peak has a chance against CXJ or VVV. I mean, he gets caught out here. It's over. Yeah, FX has Dragon like Might. F3 to push back. And an R&B to kill confirm. Unfortunate. It actually, TXJ finds the armor swap, or rather try to go for the Soul Bloom heal and everything of it. JL, only one elimination. The Matari comp. Will it work out in their favor? I don't know. I honestly, like I said, like this is what you can do on paper. This is what you can do in actuality against these type of comps that you're going up against. It's very dangerous. Basically because Matari can get outclassed by everybody. It's like a greater than sign on the full roster, and then Matari's on the other side of the greater than sign. Like she's not, she's in a lesser than position. Because like what happens with Yoruhime? Well, guess what? Yoruhime denies the stealth. So she won't be stealth. What happens with Weishan? Well, Weishan can't get backstabbed and staggered, so there's that. Okay, what happens with Temi? He can iframe the F with his F, and in terms of avoiding, and he has an ultimate to counteract it. There's so many negatives that can come out, and it can lock her in too. Takeda, what can you do? You backstab Takeda, and guess what he's doing? He's ulting and then using a fear and push to actually get a free blue focus off of you. It's like there's so many variables to it that it blows. Like I'm like, okay, maybe. But the setup would have to be immaculate of controlling the enemy's skills and ultimates where it's like, you silence them or you use CC control to your advantage the whole time. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of difficult to kind of justify using her in the trios aspect for that. Maybe if you use the V1, especially the V1 because it's 16 seconds and F2 on cooldown is 4 dashes for the backstabs. But even then. XCG, though, not getting a good chance of getting a reset here. A nice parry from Jushin, and I think that's going to be it for Kakaxi. You can see the army from the halberds and the fan it's working its magic here. And Kakaxi actually gets caught with a shotgun blast with a glide with the F3 from Wushin. As a heads up for the Viper players out there, or those who don't know. Viper can glide if she uses her F ability and the movement side of things. If she grapples towards an enemy, right? Instead of hitting the ground and start running, she can glide over the ground for a short duration or short distance by moving at the same speed as her grapple speed. Pampy though finds a chant. Oh man, that was close. But I think with Moran going down here, JJH is gonna have to dip out. This is a Viper that has a gold pole sword, and a Viper with a gold pole sword with F3 is big. But I think 521 is cooking right now for this round, guys. I do see Pampy low, but one clink gives them the kill. I'm not sure if they're gonna be getting their extra elimination there for the elimination of JJH, but we'll see. V2 ultimate coming up from Wushin against this squad. It looks like CXC gonna get stunned or not. Because of the V3 from QGG at the Weishan. That's massive. The timing there was immaculate. And Wushin pays a price. The Wushin port is forced. I see them, and I don't think they're the only ones here that see everything happening. Wolves finds Kayla 17S, and then fully sends it to Wolves' back, and then there's 17S going down here. Wolves is going to have that elimination. CXC is trying to chase this through to escape with QGG after 17S gets eliminated. And it looks like Wolves is not going to let that one up. DRG is also in the same boat. They lost Wushin, right? In that fight, WFC is moving in the opposite direction with Moonlight actually ahead of him. Now, Wolves' Zem throws a Wisp. Doesn't confirm it due to the position. But there is going to be a chance for JJH to come back to this game. Godly stayed alive in that position against 521. So getting himself a Rebirth Charm is definitely a best case scenario here. The King finds FX. JL goes down. If I'm not mistaken, we will see one other teammate to be left behind. It's going to be up to them. KLA is a GGG. QGG. Rocking into the... I always forget the name of this area. Crescent Moon? Boomerang Cliff. Yeah, that's what it is. Boomerang Cliff is going to be where a lot of fights might be ending up here. I saw this to hope more fights to happen into this area, but we just happenstanced out here. Moonlight though gets caught out completely. No questions asked. Wolves finds the eliminations, number 3 so far for them into game 3. OUG has a Draco Storm still, from what I'm seeing here too, but I haven't seen a lick of them. Like, I actually haven't seen a lot of them fight with the Draco Storm specifically. So hopefully we can see that coming out. Hoping to consider whether or not Zem is actually going to be rocking a different set of weapons. Yeah, there it is. Dragon-like might possibly. What are they doing here? Follow me. We will find the rainbow together. I'm like, wait a second. You ain't a leprechaun. But I think you is yeah, he backed off. He's gonna regroup with his team. And this is OUG. This is the stacked team. Like right now, they got to kill off a TXJ with a quick grapple. OUG's SS showing up here. Picks up the Sobloom because he needs ultimate. So does the King. So they might have just came off of a fight utilizing the Draco Storm early on, and now they're here. But looking at the scoreboard right now, XEG completely out the game. No way the chance to make up those points. But KLA and OUG, they're still having a chance here to really catch up. OUG has 10 kills. They got to find out whether or not they can capture out and pass out KLA, so that way they can win the game as MVP, and as well as getting a first place position for the multiplier. I'm hoping. Cast a curse moment. Hopefully not the case. But Pampy is actually going to be, playing for keeps here. And as Pampy actually is the Takeda with a purple fan, these guys can contest anything that they want at this point. The second realm Yang already ran its course. The Morris Blessing's already done. We're going to look for a gold Morris Blessing. But I think the set coming out from SS here. Ron finds a teleport, goes south. And he gets to the cliffside. I'm not sure. Oh, man. These guys are wholly checking this guy. He tried to glide. I know exactly what he was trying to do. Not going to happen, though. Nice hold check. Confirms it with the whisk throw. It's going to be what's going to confirm this kill. So he tried to glide with the bow by switching over it to glide over the terrain that he was passing through on. But he was too late onto it. So that way, it was a very small window, a time window that he was looking for. It didn't hit where he can glide down the cliffside. And I love doing that move against the cliffside because it just allows for the quick movement down slopes and then just being able to do so. Now, as VVV comes out here, we're going to see him try to go for the high ground, positioning out of here. VVV is going to be the only person left onto JL here. And this is that comp. This is that comp of the Matari comp. I didn't see any fights with it. I really want to see how they lost, but more so what didn't work, right? And then seeing if it is what I'm trying to see what it is. F1 though, preemptive from you. Denies VVV any sort of reason for being able to throw a blue focus. But VVV tries to buy out time. He's getting burned from the target lock or from the fire arrows and the target lock coming out from the burst arrow. And that's going to be it. I mean, he's going to scare rush this as much as possible, but the enemy team is not going to be catching him on this eye. And there's no one here except for Moonbane and for the ice in the snow. Yu's going to go ahead. I believe that we're going to see these guys, pick up the Soul Balloon immediately. 12 kills so far for OUG. They're climbing the rung of the ladder. And, we got 8 minutes left. New Jade selection for you. And he's going to be going ahead and trying to think of deciding about whether or not he's going to be going forth with the pole sword. I'm not sure. He doesn't have anything besides probably a Blistering Edge he's got with those 2 Jades. Gonna have to see that. But OUG's Yu is going to look for a meter dump off of this end with a crossbow. And if everything comes out, Yu is going to be looking to try to work his magic with using the crossbow over and over and over again. I mean, it's a good meter dump weapon, especially when you have a tumult on your team, so that way you can capitalize on that control. But I think it's also to note that it also feels a very significant amount of damage. 60 bolts or 60 arrows in your quiver for the crossbow for you to actually be able to throw at your enemies. So, yeah, it's a lot of shots that you can miss or hit or anything of the nature. 521's Yendo finds WFZ an elimination. I do see 521 cooking right now in this lobby, and this is good. 12 kills so far for the Vietnam team. So they're really making it work out here. Unique is going to find himself without any sort of combo breaker, so he has a whip still available. He's going to probably preempt the throw one and switch to a ranged weapon. Doesn't hit anybody going back to his team. These guys are at the southern tip of the circle coming out here, and then you're going to see this push coming out towards the arid area. QGG actually forcing his ultimate to come out. We're going to see whether or not QGG is going to be looking to try to escape for time or running to another team, but he's running around the edge of the circle. He goes inside of that ice lake. He is not going to have a good time with the damage that comes out over time. For QGG, this lake, that type of lake in the Boomerang Cliff, those can kill, like that area can kill you if you go inside that basin. So we'll have to see if that actually ends up going to be the case. Pai finds himself to use cannon here. Pampy actually locks down and getting contact Aurora Burst, but he did have V2 coming out from Yin as a Zipping Ying. So with Pampy having his ultimate to be ready at level 3, as long as these teams just pressure him out with cannon shots and range shots, you know, he won't have an issue when they decide to push him. So let's take a look and see about this Moore's Blessing. It's going to be left behind. It still hasn't been able to get fully. I don't think it's been unlocked. I don't know. ZK is looking towards it, going through it. There it is. That Kurumi Parasol was immaculate, man. Because that blocks range damage. ZK grabs a gold armor. The gold weapon is going to go under XEM, most likely. No, I think ZK actually a Flamebringer as a Takeda as he can. Yeah, as he should. We're going to see Pampy actually find his chance here to try to lock down with those Fury Blasts he's got. He had to force ultimate from what it seems to be. And Unique is somewhere in the distance. I'm not sure as to where. But 12 kills between 521 and OUG, the top kill leaders into this lobby so far. And OUG is actually keeping this position good. V2 stun, or not V2 stun, but like Beacon inside of the Moonbane is not really idealistic. This Moonbane in this final circle is now it. That's it. No more Moonbane. Everyone was in the middle of it, and they just stuck to the ends of it. Like I said, like the Moonbane, the extra Moonbane that they offered, into the Immortal War mode, it should change the pace of how these teams are going to progress into the final round. But it should also provide, you know, class action, you know, grief if a team gets pushed into it. We'll see. Because it looks like OUG rushing back to the realm of things. Dongqing actually rocking the Merciless Havoc on the bottom level area. They could be at a disadvantage if there are enemies inside the field of view of using their range weapons, but it's not going to be the case. ZK finds himself with a Flamebringer. He's going to try to burn out alive the ability against Tutty. And he has level 3 ultimates too, so he's going to be keeping the Flamebringer going, keeping the burns, trying to deny them sort of heals to be at full capacity. He does not get QGG as he scale rushes out to safety net. And QGG actually gets eliminated by the Wolves as EG, so it doesn't even matter. The team grabs the elimination anyways. 4 eliminations for Wolves. Tutty going to be looking for cannon shots. These guys have no kills so far. JDG has zip, not a kills. They are actually placement gods right now, if they can. But it looks like Wolves' ZK is actually going to find a Cab Bloom opportunity here and trying to catch it through. He grapples immediately up and doing a massive amount of damage. The Cab Bloom really doing the work against Pai, and Pai might be looking for a way out, but I don't think so. JDG is going to be looking to try to reposition 521, though. They're going to be the next set of players into the, you know, the eyes of Wolves. And as they have the high ground, the low ground fights are going to be immaculate as well. FPX and OUG, back-to-back, JDG's team is going to be locking into this hut. It's a small hut, so cannons can actually penetrate through the walls. OUG's U is going to have his chance to use his horizontal, but not the case. Pampy finds that wisp opportunity to get a quick kill with the R&B with the fan. That's number 13. And that's going to give, or if the elimination goes through. ZK, though, finds a chance. I'm pretty sure everyone is just like, all right, when can I delay my using my ultimate? And this is the push. You can see ZK gets pushed out here. F1 is out. Pampy actually can't do anything with this F1, but that Aurora Burst could say otherwise, and keeping the Flamebringer or keeping the Musket out is a really key stroke into that movement play here. Unique is going to be keeping the control with the staff. Pampy really doing the Takeda things out here, man. And they're catching up. They are also catching up. They are catching up to the leaderboard from their last placement to now. It's huge. It's a huge shift. Dongqing though getting pelted by or pelted. Oh, he's pelting with Swarm against Pai Pai, but Pai Pai have a chance of getting out here after the D mech. Tutty in the zone. Tutty might be eliminated here if he rushes in here with getting caught into a war burst or a cannon shot, anything of the nature. There it is. Yin gets a kill. Actually, kill number 14. Yeah. Xiaohu is going to be looking to try to go for it. Gets caught in the Aurora Burst. This is scary because Dongqing gets into the mech and Xiaohu's going to be keeping the cannon shots, building up rage. So this team could just get another cannon, Fairy of Shen cannon ready to go. You can see Xiaohu actually has... he's building up so much rage coming out from this end. Wolves ZK gets a kill off of Yin that by the time that the Fairy Shen ult, he should be at 70%. And, I mean, with that, that's huge. 75% he's at right now. You're going to see the F3 be utilized. Water goes down by Wolves ZK. ZK going to have himself the whole matrimony of the Flamebringer. And he's not going to have any sort of worries about the Yoda Hime. She ain't going to drop back down, dog. You know, he knows that. Last squad alive. Unique is actually the lowest health alive. You can see him scare rushing out here and left to right. He's actually trying to go ahead and stay his ground. I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to heal. Fairy Shen ult coming back up again. As it comes through, Xiao is going to have the army for the fan, forcing ZK's ultimate and the kill off of Dongqing big time. He's going to go for the scare rush into the sky, and we're going to see FPX actually find a chance going through here. 5-2-1's eliminated completely. ZK, though, goes for the Kabloom. This time, though, it looks like the King is actually going to get caught into a Aurora Burst and could just die out here completely with the pushes that's being done by ZK's Fear and Blast. And I think after these kills, Wolves keeps their push. They're going to keep it going. Xiaohu is still alive for just a couple of seconds here because he's looking kind of sketchy in that low HP par. But that's going to be it, guys. One chance for Wolves to get this uppercut. F1 from OUG's SSS. King is down. And with this, OUG gets a kill off of ZK. A War Burst comes out, catching him through. And that's going to be a chance for their dub for this round. At least to the extent. Nice final kill, though. Like, nice final push. And Wolves comes out here for the win. I'm not sure they're MVP. Considering how many kills we saw that 5-2-1 got, I think this is their first MVP. And if not, it could be OUG because OUG was the second with the most kills. Let's take a look at the scene. It is definitely going to be OUG. They were there for longer. They got more eliminations at the end. So, you know, with that, let's take a look at the scores. And hopefully you can grab that real fast. All right, we're going to have the standings here instead. For the scores, JJH actually still rocking in the bottom. They're really trying to get through in this end. It's just, I hope they have a pop-off game. I hope their chances of being able to catch through is going to be better than in the past. JDG though in 11th place with 13.4, FPX with 16.1, 17.2 for Team JL, and they had a good consistent 2 first games, and you know, trying to hope for getting a better game on that end. They did not, especially with the Matari comp that they were rocking. You know, there got to be a niche for it, and they're trying to find it, and it didn't happen, but we'll see. WBG, though, actually getting themselves, 8th place, and with it, you know, 21.6 points. In the bottom of the gatekeeper is going to be DRG's Akuma. DRG as a whole, they're going to have 23.4. Now, the gatekeeper is 5-2-1 now. 5-2-1 doing the magic here with a 3.3 lead against their predecessor. So as the gatekeepers, they're going to have to keep up the pressure, you know, avoid any sort of contact with these teams. JL could have a pop-off game instead and go crazy like they have and got a 19.7 game. And it could happen. It could ensure their point value to skyrocket and getting to the top 6. But as well as with the 5-2-1, Bauda is going to be the 5th place position. They're going to be at 28.2, 34.6 for Wolves in 4th, 35.6 for KLA. So a point difference. 38.9 for XCG. They just got eliminated early on, like quick. And so with that, you're going to see OUG actually work this magic of keeping the leaderboard theirs. We're back, boys. OUG is going to keep that first place for the first 3 rounds. We're going to go into Morris Isle for the next 3. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching this through. Like I said, you might want to watch this until live broadcast, the action and the romance, the desire. No, but more so about the aspect of the casters and everything of that nature. So make sure you guys take a chance of watching them. They're going to be huge. It's going to be Dobby and Seb Guy. And make sure you guys get a chance of watching the past because, these guys, all the casters really work hard in terms of making it through in terms of casting. So they're making their chances of passing through each and every day of giving you guys that experience. So show them love. I will be, though, for part 2, for 3 and 4, rounds 4 and 6. See you next time for part 2.